All right.
Shall I say my joke?
Yeah, it's good. Why don't you just adjust your microphone thing? Then I can actually
Like here.
vaguely see what you look like.
Better?
No, in honesty. In fairness, I'm wearing my glasses today.
Yeah, I'm wearing mine as well.
And that allows me to see what's on my laptop screen, but it does mean that you're possibly slightly out of focus, and I feel like that's just a win-win situation.
You've just been horrible to me this
Come
morning.
on, get on with it.
Right, okay, ready?
Yeah.
Where do pirates get their hooks?
I don't know.
The second-hand store. Arg. That was good. That was a good one. Don't just sigh.
That's just... Okay, good. Well, what have you just clicked on YouTube? You must be wondering and questioning your life choices right now. You are watching the Constant Geekery podcast. I believe we're on episode 3 of season 5, and I don't know why we're still doing seasons and episodes.
Me neither.
But there we go.
Inconsistent.
That's possibly what it is, but it may not be. And what's in the show today? So let me just tell you what we got coming up. So we'll also put chapter markers in. So if you don't want to listen to me talk to a complete imbecile, then you can skip forward. Is that your phone?
I don't think it was my phone. No, it's not my phone.
Is that your phone, Ben? Is it my phone? I put it on Do Not Disturb, though.
Dayv.
It is as well as my prescription. My prescription's ready. That's nice, isn't it?
That's nice, but also you've just interrupted one of the best podcasts on the internet for like your little prescription.
Let's go with that. So what's in the show today? We're going to talk a bit of news about the Apple releases that will be happening. I mean, we're recording this on Monday the 17th. So I think these release announcements happen from Wednesday.
Yeah.
So by the time you watch this, it may have already happened, but we don't know that at this point in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're probably going to get it all wrong, but we'll talk about that. And we've got a new segment, which is questions from members and subscribers. So got some good questions, actually. You guys have come up with good stuff. Yeah. So we'll be answering those. So just to give you a hint on what might be there, things about which M4 Ultra you should buy, discussion around Windows and ARM and Apple, and when might we actually upgrade a computer if we can, those kind of things. So that should be interesting. And you've prepared some content, Erin.
I have. I've got some questions for you.
What, like interview style?
Interview style questions. I want one of those microphones. You know, the big microphones that people have.
Yeah.
Can we invest in one of those? Or
we have numerous microphones here.
But I want the one, you know, the one with the little, it has like BBC on it.
So you want a BBC microphone?
Yeah, preferably.
Okay. I'm sure we can sort that out for you, Erin.
Perfect.
What I should say is that for this interview, I've not seen any of these questions.
No. And
it's fair to say that you've probably put in something horrible in there.
I don't think so. That doesn't sound like something I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, we do enjoy a bit of banter here in the UK. And I was watching something interesting on YouTube the other day about Americans getting used to the British sense of humour, because they're very different.
They are, yeah.
And the whole idea of banter doesn't quite translate in the same way.
No.
So when we're tearing strips off of each other here in the studio, it is because we are we being friendly though? I don't really like you that much. I don't know.
There's always like a little bit of hostility within each energy.
You have to like someone enough
to insult them.
To be rude to them.
Yeah.
To insult them. Whereas in America, I feel like the culture is different and people would probably just think you were being really rude.
Yeah, definitely.
But over here, it's a sign of affection when someone's really mean to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes, except when it isn't.
Yeah, like between us, it's just all hostility. And yeah, there's no friendship basis.
and bullying. You know, there is a line that gets crossed. But if you get a bunch of lads out together, they will just rip into each other constantly.
Yeah, non-stop.
And that's, when someone does that to you, that's a privilege, you know, because it means you're well liked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hair's looking interesting today, Erin.
What? Okay, this is my pet peeve with this podcast is I spend at least 25 minutes in the morning getting my hair done.
Okay, let's just stop there, Erin. At least 25
At
minutes?
least 25 minutes.
Okay. How many more than 25 minutes is it, honestly?
Okay, wait. So if I'm showering though,
And we're all happy that you do that.
yeah, you're welcome. Because my showers are normally like 15 minutes.
15? What?
Well, I'm not going to go into details about
okay, fair
my
enough.
shower.
It just
If
seems
you're
like-
washing my hair and stuff,
That's
you've got
quite
to
a
let
lot
like
of-
the conditioner soak into your hair.
Right. Okay.
And most girls don't use for like 15-in-1 like products that men do. You know, we have separate bottles.
Okay, so let me just show you my procedure is a small amount of shower gel.
Okay.
I wash my hair.
Stop. Sorry. Stop. Stop.
No, it's not good. But then because it lathers up, you can then just use that everywhere. So I use a small amount of shower gel every day. Look, Erin,
No, sorry.
I'm continuing because you're really uncomfortable right now. And
But we're not skipping past this. You're using shower gel as a shampoo.
What's wrong
Are
with
you
that?
joking?
I used to use just hand soap.
Ben, do you use shower gel or do you use shampoo?
It doubles as shampoo.
That is
Why-
mental.
Yeah, but
I have a shampoo, a conditioner, a leave-in conditioner for after it, hair masks in between, like shampoo and conditioner, like once every week to keep your hair nice and soft. You know, and then hair oils as well.
I guess,
Hair masks.
I guess the issue here is you're a young lady with lustrous locks. I'm in my mid-40s, actually closer. I'm on the downward slope, let's be honest. And
Using hand
there's more
soap.
and more UV rays hitting my scalp these days.
That's because you're using hand soap to shampoo your hair. Do you use conditioner?
No, why would I use conditioner?
Dave,
That
is outrageous. That's actually outrageous.
it's perfectly normal for guys. Okay, comments, please.
Comment
Guys.
comment your hair routines in the comments.
Yeah,
'cause
this
I
is
wanna
perfect
see.
for a tech podcast. Honestly, quality content here. Anyway, your hair, Erin, you get
Yeah.
irritated with the podcast.
Yeah, because the headphones like flatten my hair and it makes it look all like janky.
Oh, okay.
And that
gotta be
annoys
honest,
me.
I can't really tell the difference between janky and when you say it looks really nice. After putting all the product in and, you know, single-handedly destroying the environment with your 15-minute showers.
I hope you go bold. I hope you're bold and I hope that you're sad about it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
You're really kind, Erin. Anyway, you took your driving test last week. didn't
I took my driving test and I passed. I can drive legally because I was driving illegally, but now not even an issue. So
Your mum said to me in your presence, and I am going to repeat this because there's nothing quite like parental love, is there?
yeah.
And she said to me that you probably only passed because you look, and I quote, vaguely normal.
Which is like the ultimate mum comment, isn't it? Like that's the highest of compliments from my mum is that I look vaguely normal.
Yeah.
But I'll take that. That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, she's being kind to you
yeah.
by
That's
saying
fine.
vaguely. Vaguely normal. Is that
That
you?
time that was
you.
me. It's
You-
because people at work are trying to get a hold of me. Like I don't even know how to.
Why are they
switch it
trying to
off.
get hold of you? I didn't think you did any work.
Yeah, me neither. But apparently people are like expecting stuff from me these days.
Harsh.
Bit of a nightmare.
So, how did you pass your driving test? Because you've told me a few things about this, but
I was honestly very surprised that I passed. If I'm being honest.
so when he told you to turn left at the junction, what did you do, Erin?
I went right. And I think it was bad as well because he was like, okay, just make sure that you turn left. And I was like, full confidence. I was like, yeah, I know. I'll go left. It's all good. I'm going to go left. And then he like kept repeating it. And I was like, I'm going left. It's fine. And then I went right. And he was like, okay, not ideal. So we had to do like a big loop around. And then I was going around a roundabout and stalled the car. Couldn't get it going. I don't know what else I was doing really. It was like the worst drive of my life. And then he was like, just pull into that space at the end. And I was like, normally they make you do like a parking maneuver, like reverse bay park or something. And he was like, nope, just drive forward into that bay there. And I was like, okay, we'll do. And I was like, I've definitely failed. Pulled in and he was like, you passed. And honestly, I was so shocked. I was like, did I? That was just, not ideal. But I passed. I can drive.
So just It was a chap, was it? Male driving
It
examiner.
was. His name was Carl.
Was it?
You know.
Carl might be watching the podcast, so now I have to be polite.
Yeah, I think you should be polite. He's been a driving instructor for. I also talked his ear off, as you can imagine. Because when I'm nervous, I end up talking a lot as well. He's been a driving instructor for 5 years, though.
Has he?
Which is very cool.
Good. Well, anyway, well done for passing.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
if
so
you
much.
don't mind just dropping me a text whenever you're heading out on the road so I can stay at home.
The government's actually got a new alert system that will go out every time I'm in my car. So
That
you're
would
all
be
safe.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
Should we do some news and actually talk some tech? Because
Yeah.
we're now 13 minutes
And
into...
then we talked his hair and driving.
It used to be very different when we did the podcast with Pete.
Yeah. Do you miss him?
Do I miss Pete?
Yeah.
We got a question about that later, so I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So in the news, I mean, the only news we're going to be doing is, I suppose we could do some other news as well. I mean, there's lots of excitement in the graphics card world because nVidia has launched their new 50 series cards, which I know you've been very excited about, Erin.
Wow.
And AMD are about to release their new cards, so that'll be good. And once again, we've got a situation where NVIDIA's top cards are melting the power cable that goes into them.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So these power cables are actually rated for 600 watts, and it seems that the top card will draw more than 600 watts, which is not ideal.
That's not really what you want, is it?
No. I haven't looked at it in any detail, which is why I haven't put it on the schedule to discuss. But yeah, if you've got a particular feeling about that, please leave a comment below. I'd like to do some testing with those cards, but the top one, assuming you can buy it for retail price, is $2,000
For a card?
Yeah, graphics card.
That is mental, isn't it?
Yes.
That is... I'm not a fan of that.
Absolutely deranged. I mean, it's worth buying these cards if you're using them for professional workflows and you've got to render stuff. But for gamers, I don't really get it because you don't need a card that fast.
What about if you're like streaming though?
Ooh.
Like, you know, like streamers, because obviously they've got a lot going on. Potentially.
Yeah. I don't think that takes up a huge amount of graphics card power. Ben might be able to answer that better. We're doing a bit of gaming PC build today, aren't we, Ben? Ben's behind the camera. He's looking very excited because he's been saving his money for a new gaming PC.
Oh, that is exciting.
So we've got a bit of a build, which we're going to film, and we'll stick that on the channel at some point.
That is cool. Did you get a cool case for it? Is it going to light up? Yeah?
It's got fairly minimal RGB, actually, but it's going to look clean.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Very
I'm not
nice.
giving away anything else.
No, sorry. Sneaky.
Right, let's get on to the Apple releases. So there are a few things that Apple are destined to release, and it looks like they're not going to have an actual event, but they're going to do the whole press release thing.
Yeah. Just kind of like throw it out there.
Bit disappointing, which means no watching Craig run and do his
Craig.
hair. We're back to hair
I
again.
love Craig. He's literally like my favourite Apple person. Shout out to Craig. That's what he's wanting.
I imagine that's
That's just made his day.
it's all he's been looking forward to for weeks. So the most obvious thing that we expect to be released is the iPhone SE 4th generation. How do you feel about that, Erin?
I'm very excited about this. I'm a big fan of an iPhone SE.
I think they are important for Apple. And lots of people will say, oh, it's a budget iPhone. Who on earth would want a phone with a 60 hertz display and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, people do want them. The sales figures will show that, I'm sure.
I think they're great. They do everything that you want a phone to do at like a reasonable-ish price.
Yeah, and I think I could probably get away with an iPhone SE.
Yeah.
And if I was spending my own personal money buying my phone instead of having the company provide me with one,
Yeah.
I'd go with an SE.
You go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good option for people in general.
Yeah.
I just like it. I had the iPhone SE, I think it was the first generation in like rose gold.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like tiny. And then when you did like web design stuff, that was like the smallest screen that you had to design for.
Yeah.
I remember all the designers being like really annoyed about it because it's literally like...
A postage stamp.
Oh, sorry, just punched my microphone.
So this time is going to be basically an iPhone 13, although different exterior. So a single camera.
iPhone 13,
You've
for
got
example.
an iPhone 13.
Yeah, with the little notch,
So
which they're including.
Notch at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Same internals by all accounts. And yeah, although that would mean no Apple Intelligence, I think.
No
Because
Apple
your
Intelligence?
phone wouldn't support that. Because you
What?
need an A17 Pro or later, or an A18, in which that phone doesn't have.
This one wouldn't do that, no.
No.
But apparently it might support Apple Intelligence, according to some rumours.
Okay, so it won't actually be an iPhone 13 if that's the case.
No, it'll be slightly different. Also, it's got like the little single camera, apparently, which is cool.
Although some of the mock-ups I've seen, it appears to be a very big bump.
He's quite chunky, isn't he?
Yeah, I
Which
don't
is
like
fun.
that.
No, I feel like that's quite prone to damage, which I'm not a fan of.
No.
But
But if they get the price right, so the last SE I think was $430.
yeah, apparently it's rumored to be around $420, but anywhere under $500. So
Well, if they do that, they'll sell a load of them
yeah, which would be ideal.
because people want Apple and they want the Apple ecosystem.
I hope they have some cool colours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like a bright orange. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Or like a nice, like a rust orange would be really nice.
I used to have an orange phone.
What, like an iPhone? Or no?
No, it was much better than an iPhone.
What was it?
A Windows phone.
Oh,
It was a Lumia 930 with an orange back. See, look at this. I got the opportunity to plug Windows Phone. I cannot believe Microsoft dropped Windows Phone.
wait, what?
It was the best phone.
They don't do it anymore?
Welcome to the Tech Podcast with the tech expert, Erin.
I only Googled for Apple stuff.
Did you never have a Windows phone?
I did. I had a, I can't even remember what it was. It was like turquoisey blue. And it has like, all the widgets were like weird little cubes.
I think you find they're squares or rectangles.
Yeah.
Because cubes are three-dimensional.
Yeah. Like I was saying, like the little cubes. And I can't even remember what it was called. But I loved it. And then I put it in my school bag. And then I dropped my school bag and it smashed.
Good skills.
Yeah. Classic.
Classic.
Me.
Yeah, I think Windows... I mean, today, if you were to rock a Windows phone, you know, we remember it as of at the time. But at the time, I felt it was superior to Android and iOS. I mean, everybody used to moan about the lack of app support, but all of the apps that I wanted were on there.
Oh, so it's fine for you
then? It was fine for me and everyone else, tough.
Who cares what they want, you know?
I was gutted when they cancelled Windows Phone and I had to go back to iPhone.
Did you have a little cry?
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a shame. Well, RIP, little Windows phones.
Yeah,
They're a thing of the
Microsoft
past.
just didn't have any staying power in the market.
No.
And I feel that's a shame. Other things that we might get announced.
Yeah.
So a new entry-level iPad. So the current one is the 10th generation. In fact, we have one here in the studio,
Is it the little yellow one?
a yellow one,
Yeah, I like it.
which we use for... I bought it because I wanted a better auto cue system
Yeah.
rather than using my phone. And I just haven't got round to setting it up. So
We've had it for ages.
I know, but in fairness, we do use it to control all the studio lights.
Yeah, which
And
is good
that's
fun.
An incredibly useful thing. And also our robot camera equipment that we're starting to use for B-roll.
Yeah, the Edelkrone.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I do feel that that's a waste of an iPad. But nonetheless, we
Download
have
Flappy
one.
Bird on it or something, or like Angry Birds, and then you'll be making it live up to its true potential.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so it's due a refresh.
Yeah.
And people might want to play Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
Is that still available?
No,
No,
I don't think
okay.
it has been for a very long time.
Well, they might want a bit of an upgrade. And there's talk that it might get upgraded for Apple Intelligence purposes, which would mean an A17 Pro chip at the minimum, or A18, but would also mean an increase in RAM, because I think at the moment it's maybe 4 gig. Probably got that wrong, but it's not very much anyway. So they'd have to do at least 8 gig,
Up it.
which would,
Price.
yeah.
Yeah, not ideal.
So not sure about that. We'll see. Does the entry-level generation need, I mean, let's be honest, does anybody need Apple Intelligence?
What does it do?
Well, exactly.
Well,
At the moment, so far, it's just really annoying providing really annoying summaries of my messages that just annoy me.
I don't think I have it on my phone. Oh, my phone won't have it, will it?
No.
Oh, that's a win.
It is.
Take that as a win.
You have to just go with Erin intelligence.
Yeah, which is superior.
Arguably worse.
Okay, it's superior. I'll have you know.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So possibility. What do you reckon, folks? iPad 11th Gen. What about an update to the iPad Air? Perhaps getting an M3 or an M4 chip.
That'd be exciting. Does it even use the M2 chip though? Because wasn't there a whole thing where it couldn't like?
I thought it did. I thought it is M2 now.
Is it
isn't
M2?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but I
iPad
thought
Air.
it couldn't even use the M2 chip to its like fullest capacity.
Oh no, they can't.
No.
iPad OS is a severely limiting factor. Outside of gaming, and a few very niche things, it's very difficult to fully exploit any M chip in an iPad.
So they're just going to up the price and be like, we've got a brand new M4 chip in it.
To be honest, I think it's got more to do with just selling the inventory of chips.
Okay, got you.
So, but at the moment, Apple still sells an M2 MacBook Air. So the M2 chip is still current, and M3 hasn't had the best yields. So I think Apple would quite like to ditch M3. So will they move it to M4 or will they just leave it on M2? Don't know. Have to wait and see.
Interesting.
Something I think is fairly likely to happen is the revised MacBook Air with M4, because that's still M3.
Yeah.
Unless you buy one with M2.
That could be fun. Great. Awesome. Speedy.
Very speedy. The M4 is a absolutely ridiculous chip.
It's a good chip.
It is a good chip. Of course, in the MacBook Air, it's going to throttle quite a lot
Yeah.
if you try to push it hard. I remember doing some testing with my M3 MacBook Air that I had, and just seeing it like get crushed by the M1 iMac for a video render because it just got too hot.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
No, but if you're not using it for extended workloads and things like that, then yes, ridiculously fast. What a great computer that's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It'd be cool.
Maybe it'll have like cool colours.
Excuse me. More colours, do you think?
They won't, will they? Because all the MacBooks are like either grey or silver or slightly darker grey.
The Pros are now, so this is what they call space black, the one I've got now.
Yes, because Dan has that one and I thought it looked really, really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice colour.
They don't do this. I don't think they do this for a MacBook Air. They do midnight blue, starlight and silver.
I like that one. It's like very Batman, isn't it? I feel like Bruce Wayne would have that.
Yeah.
It's like his kind of black.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's ideal for me then, isn't it?
I feel like it would be quite I feel like it would be quite easy to scratch though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Don't comment on mine. Okay. I fell down the stairs with this.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is the laptop okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
Are your stairs
he's
all
literally
right?
fine. I was fine as well. Thank you.
I wasn't asking about you. I was
Yeah,
asking if the
no.
stairs were okay.
I did twist my ankle though. It did hurt.
I'm not worried about that. As long as the stairs are all right.
Yeah.
Some people think the graphic that Tim Cook shared on social media does have the sort of, looks like a bit like an AirTag, doesn't it?
The little...
Yeah, it
little
has an
thing.
Apple logo in sort of a white disc. I just wonder, are we going to see another AirTag?
Maybe another AirTag, potentially, which is
AirTag
great
too.
because I love tracking things.
Do you?
Not really.
I'm testing at the moment something which I bought with my own money, but some Chinese AirTag things.
Oh,
There
is
are
it-
loads of them on Amazon.
Yeah. Is it
But-
good?
It works exactly like an AirTag, but you can get 2 for £18 instead of 1 for 30.
Because basically at that point you're just paying for the little Apple logo, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it has a hole in it so you can put it straight on your keyring. Whereas with the Apple one, you got to buy a separate fob.
Do you actually?
Yeah,
That is mental.
it's crazy. Isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to do. I might get a few more actually, and just so we can do some testing with it.
Test them out. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Another possible release:
Fridge.
the Apple fridge.
The Apple fridge. This is my prediction. Is that we're going to get an Apple fridge. Because think about it, like Samsung's got their little smart fridges. Yeah. Super cool. Everybody loves them. Because you can, the first thing in the morning that I want to do is check Twitter on my fridge. Oh, it's not even Twitter anymore, is it? What's it called? X. Yeah. Just do that before you get your milk out your fridge. So I reckon Apple's gonna tap into that. Have an Apple fridge.
Yeah. Or it could be some sort of like home hub type thing.
Yeah, but that's so boring. I want something like exciting. Something new.
Tim did say that, meet the new member of the Apple family.
Exactly.
Or something. So yeah, it could be interesting. Or maybe some news on Vision Pro, which nobody's buying. But
yeah, what was that about?
I don't know.
I feel like that wasn't their best marketing move.
Whenever you go in the Apple store, if they even catch you looking at the Vision Pro, they want you to do a demo. They jump on you like they're desperate to sell them.
Yeah, but the price point is mental on them.
It is a bit, and I think the novelty wears off fast. And it's not a product for me yet.
No,
but potentially in the future, who knows? Who knows? Something we didn't talk about, of course, on that. Just going back to the iPhone SE. Is this will mean, because the current iPhone SE has a button on the front, so it's got TouchID.
Yes.
So now it's going to go FaceID, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a shame because I love TouchID. I thought it was like one of the best things ever.
Yeah. So I like FaceID on a laptop. I think it's quite good, although they don't do it for some reason, despite having this enormous notch.
It doesn't have FaceID on that?
No.
Has it got TouchID?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to cough, sorry.
No, just cough straight into the face.
Almost just drenched the microphone there.
That would have been pretty grim.
I've been ill for like 2 weeks. It's ridiculous.
You've been like super gammy.
Gammy.
Super, super gammy.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, pretty grim.
And poor Ben's been ill as well.
Yeah.
And we've been struggling on.
Equally as gammy. It's the little gammy family.
Excuse me. Perhaps Ben will edit that out. But if he doesn't, just know, folks, that he didn't love you enough to save you from my coughing. So anyway, I like FaceID on my iPad because you're holding your iPad. It makes sense to have FaceID, but I'd much rather have TouchID on a phone, wouldn't you?
Well, we were saying earlier, when you go to pay for something, it's always really awkward when you're like talking to your cashier and then you're like, da la la. And then you have to like deadpan at the phone.
Yeah.
But I feel like it just, not a fan of that.
Why can't we have both?
Yeah, both would make sense.
And here's another thing. Why does it have to be in a button? Because I've got the Samsung Galaxy Tab Ultra.
Yeah.
And it has, it does have a camera thing for some sort of Face ID. But it also has a fingerprint reader, which is under the screen.
Yes, which is so cool.
So on the lock screen, you just get this like animated fingerprint pattern where the sensor is, and you just touch the screen in that place. And it still feels super futuristic to me.
It's literally perfect, isn't it?
It's great. Why can't Apple do that?
Because they hate us.
Or perhaps Samsung has some sort of patent. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we've probably done enough news. And it'd be interesting to see, maybe next time we do a podcast, we can talk about what Apple actually released.
Yeah, that'd be good. Maybe with a fridge. We can get a fridge review in. I think that would be quite good.
Okay. Here's a little promise for you, Erin.
Okay.
If Apple release a fridge, I'll get one for you.
Will you? You got to hold, keep that in mind. I've always wanted an Apple fridge.
Okay, just let's put some context around this. Not like in 2054, right? If they branch into domestic appliances at some point in the distant future, you can't call me up and go, Dave, do you remember that time 20 years ago when you said, right, if Apple release a fridge, in this next batch of releases, I'll get you one.
Okay. I'm going to email Tim Cook and be like, hey, mate.
He will absolutely...
And he'll answer me straight away and he'll be like, sure, Erin from the Constant Geekery podcast. I will do that for you because you're so cool and have really cool hair despite the headphones. And I'll be like, thank you, Tim Cook.
So I thought Tim was quite an intelligent chap.
Right, okay. There's no need for that. No need for it. Can we do questions?
Yeah, so here is a new section, everybody. Now, I put out a post for both our members who didn't send any questions this time, but also then opened it to subscribers as well for questions. And some of our subscribers have sent questions. So you are going to pose these questions to me.
I'm going to pose the questions.
I'll do my best to answer them for you guys.
Question 1 is from Perky Pat. Fantastic username to start with. Perky Pat. And they have said, there are some good deals to be had on Apple Mac Studio M1 Ultra. Should I hold back and wait for the M4 Ultra to get an M2 Ultra, or simply go for it?
Interesting question.
Answer it.
I'm going to. Now, I got to say, this is the product I'm most excited about this year is the new Mac Studio with M4 Ultra, if such a thing comes. I'm quite looking forward to that. So at the moment, the M1 Ultra is available still from various discount
Is that what I
outlets.
have?
No, you've got the M1 Mac Studio.
Oh, I see.
So they did two versions. So there's the M1 Max version, and then the M1 Ultra is basically two M1 Max chips stuck together.
Got you. Okay.
So a more beefy version of what you've got.
Very nice. Yeah.
And an M1 Ultra would be an absolutely amazing computer by any measure. But I think at this point, to be buying something of that age, it's got to be a really good deal.
Yeah.
I think you've got to get a really good deal on that to make that worthwhile. So then the current generation is still the M2. They never made an M3 Ultra. So what I think Perky Pat is saying is when the M4 lines come out, then there'll be discounts available on the M2. So should I hang on for M2 Ultra? And M2 Ultra is quite a chip, isn't it? Now, I meant to look this up before we actually did the podcast, but I'll just quickly nip on to Geekbench.
Is it quite beefy?
I think it is still the most powerful Mac.
That's
Or is
exciting.
it? Or is it?
While you Google
It's
that, do you
not.
want me to come up with a little theme song for this segment?
No, you don't need to.
Oh, you already got the answer.
I've got the answer. But if you want to do a theme song, I suspect the viewers / listeners would love. Well, just get on with it.
But,
Go on.
okay, wait. So what are we calling this section? Just questions from subscribers?
Yeah.
Okay, how about I do some beatboxing, then you say questions for subscribers over the top. You ready?
I cannot
Ready?
conceive
Ready?
how this is going to be.
Ready?
Go on.
Ready? Right. So as I was saying, when I beatbox, that's when you come in and say questions from subscribers, okay? So from the top, because you kind
I'll be
of...
honest, I'm still in shock, Erin, and I'm just trying to understand what's gone wrong with my life and how have I found myself in this position where I'm listening to Erin say boots and cats into a microphone.
I just wanted some
I
enthusiasm.
don't know. I feel like the listeners and the viewers, they just must be hanging their heads. And if anybody is still listening to us or watching.
Well, if you just put in some effort, because honestly, I think you're just kind of slacking.
Okay.
I feel like I'm really carrying this podcast.
I
And
feel
you're
like
just-
maybe just a little intro. Then you could pause the beatbox and I'll say.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, ready?
Questions from subscribers.
See?
What, I got to do it again? Oh, no.
No,
right.
that was
Is
great.
it?
No, that was it.
Okay.
I think that was good. Anyway, answer the question,
Erin,
please.
let's never do that again.
Yeah.
I don't think we can actually include this in the edit, but maybe I'll put this up as a members video because we don't monetize those. But
Yeah.
you did some singing earlier and it was frankly horrific.
Was it not just top tier though?
No.
This is just rude. Anyway, you haven't even answered the question yet.
Let me answer the
Poor
question.
Perky Pat.
Would you just allow me to answer the question?
Answer the question.
Right. So the M2 Ultra, in terms of performance, has actually been bested by the M4 Max. So if it comes to single core performance, obviously M4 generation will be much faster than M2. There's no revelation there. But the M4 Max chip, I think even the binned versions, the entry level M4 Max, has about the same kind of multi-core CPU performance as M2 Ultra, which is just astonishing how far we've come in such a short amount of time. So what I wanted to say was this: if you're looking at maybe getting the M2 Ultra at a discount, I would say even with the discounted price, it will probably still cost you about the same as a Mac Studio with some sort of M4 Max, and that would actually be a better choice, perhaps. That's kind of my conclusion. Now, where the M2 Ultra does still lead is graphics performance. So if you want the absolute best graphics performance in a Mac, then M2 Ultra is where it's at. So getting back to the question, should you hold back and wait to get an M2 Ultra or just go for the M1 Ultra? So I think my answer to that is if the M1 Ultra is ridiculously cheap, then go for it. It's a brilliant machine. If you're going to wait for the M2 Ultra, do your homework and check out M4 Max Studio as well, because if they're the same price, there's probably some arguments for going for M4 Max. So that's my answer to the question.
That was a good answer.
Thank you.
That was really good. I followed along very well.
I imagine you did, and you didn't distract it at all with any kind of nonsense.
I feel like it was a very straightforward segment. So on to the next question.
You do realise, Erin, that people who know us watch this podcast and will have heard you beatboxing.
That's okay. They'll know how talented I am.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, next question is from Goob Filmcast 4239.
Okay.
Very catchy username as well. That's a good one, actually.
I recognise the name, so they must be a regular subscriber.
Oh, okay. So they've asked, will the PC/Windows industry fully follow Apple's lead and move to ARM-based designs with more integration and less modularity? Very gay.
Yes, no.
That were two very conflicting answers there.
Yeah, yes and no.
Yeah.
Will they fully? The question was, will they fully follow Apple's lead? No, I don't think. I don't think that will happen because the PC market thrives on the DIY build, and I've seen how excited Ben's been getting about building his new PC, and I know what it's like when you're doing something like that. It's just great. A great feeling as well when you've built a good system. Yeah. And people like that. And I feel like that's going to happen. Where the ARM architecture really shines, there's two main areas, and they're all to do with power efficiency. I mean, let's not forget they are brilliant chips anyway. Apple has shown that. And actually, I've got the Snapdragon X Elite laptop, and I think that's a brilliant chip as well. They're very performant. But their key benefit is the power efficiency, and there are two specific use cases for that. And the first is data centers. So servers in data centers use power, obviously, which generates a lot of heat, which you don't want because you're trying to get as many of these things in as small a space as possible. And I don't know if you've ever seen one, Erin, but if you can imagine a pizza box. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. It's that kind of shape and size. Yeah. And you stack them up, you can have like 42 of these things in a rack.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting.
That's cool.
And they make an absolute racket, and they're all pulling in huge amounts of juice. Dual power supplies usually, lots of very high speed fans.
Does it have to be like negative 96 degrees in there?
No, what the way they usually do it in the data center is they'll have a row where all of the racks are facing each other. So you go down one row and it's all fronts on both sides. And then the row in between is the exhaust row. Okay. And then they'll feed cool air into the fronts. And then the exhaust row will be hot. And that's where they're sucking out the hot air.
That's exciting.
It's amazing stuff. Now, the reason why I know this is because we have our own equipment, because we run a digital agency. That's my main business and where Erin works. And we have our own kit in data centers. So I spent quite a bit of time in data centers working on servers and stuff like this. And what a lot of people probably don't realize is that the biggest cost is power. You'd think it would be the connectivity. You know, I got to pay loads for my bandwidth to the internet. Yeah. Or for the space, but no, it's the power is the big limit. So you want a server that can do more with less. Yeah. And so people or companies like I should say, Amazon have built their own ARM chips and for their servers, very efficient. You've got companies like Ampere who make ARM chips with ludicrous amounts of cores. I mean, they were doing 128 cores, and I'm pretty sure there's one with even more than that. So amazing amounts of power with great efficiency. So that market is very strong for ARM, although most of those machines are not going to be running Windows. And the question was about, I suppose it says PC/Windows industry. The other area where power efficiency is important, of course, is in a laptop. So mobile devices and tablets, ARM chips make perfect sense because you get the all-day battery life. So how long does the battery last on your 16-inch MacBook Pro with an Intel chip?
So it was 100% when we started. And what it's been like?
40 minutes.
What, in for podcast? But I had it off of charge when I was talking to you as well. Okay. And it's down to 93%.
So it's not doing too bad, but it's
No, he's
not
alright.
actually doing anything at all.
No, he's just kind of sat there.
But
So
one of those, if you start working it, the battery will be gone in a couple of hours. won't it?
yeah, pretty speedy.
Yeah. Whereas I could get all day out of my M3 Max here.
Doing what, like video editing or something?
Yeah, you can if it's if you're not doing too much in the way of rendering, you can eke it out all day.
That's good.
How long does yours last, Ben? You've got the M2 Max 16-inch. Can you get all day out of it on battery?
Not with the heavy video that we do. It will last most of the day. I can sometimes get to the end of the day with like 5%.
Yeah. So, but you just wouldn't be able to do that with I mean, you're talking about fairly heavyweight work with Fusion and DaVinci Resolve. So, yeah, the ARM efficiency makes perfect sense in laptops. Now, your question was also talking about modularity or upgradability, if you like. Apple just basically, they solder everything onto the board. You
Stick
ain't
it on
changing nothing.
No.
Yeah. With the exception, of course, of the Mac Studio, which has the SSDs on carrier boards, although they're not widely available, and the Mac Mini. There are now third-party SSD upgrades for the M4 Mac Mini.
That's exciting.
It's pretty great. So, would the PC industry follow Apple's move? I think they already are doing it. So, they are already soldering RAM onto the logic board, soldering the chips on, because it allows them to get the devices thinner.
Got you.
And they got to pack the battery in. So if you have a socket for something and the something, it takes up more space than just soldering it to the board.
Yeah. Got you.
What they haven't done yet, although I think there might be a couple of exceptions to this, but soldering SSDs doesn't seem to be a thing in the PC industry.
Okay.
But I think if they could do it, they would, because it's a great way to make money, because it keeps people buying new machines. You know, let's be cynical about it. That's why they're doing it.
Yep.
In Apple's case, of course, the controller for the SSD is part of the M chip, and you just have NAND chips that are soldered onto the board for the storage, whereas PCs are still using standard off-the-shelf M.2 drives, which have the controller as part of the drive. So if they made the move to soldering onto the board, the controller would also have to be on the board. I can tell you're following along with this, Erin. So that, I think, is a reason why we'll probably still get upgradable SSDs. I cannot see desktop PCs going all soldered, because what's the point? With the exception, of course, of mini PCs. And then it does make sense. So if you want a really small computer on your desk that's power efficient, yeah, I can see a non-upgradable ARM PC being something that people might buy. But in the PC market, I'd expect it'd have to be cheap for people to even consider it. I just don't think you can compare Apple and PC in quite the same way because of the difference in the expectations of the people buying it. That feels like a really long-winded answer.
That was a good answer, though. I feel like it's quite in depth, but I feel like people will like that. The techies.
Okay.
The techies will enjoy that. Did you cover the second part of that question?
No.
No? I can give you a second part now, which is... Well, it's not really a second part. It's like
Well,
a separate
you didn't
question.
read it, so that's why I haven't covered it.
Okay, well...
So if you'd like to read the second question.
Well, let me do my reading.
Okay.
Ready?
Can you see it through the glasses?
No.
And the hair that's kind of
Yeah.
encroaching.
It's like... Anyways, you know, like when horses are like racing and they have to have like the blinders to stay concentrated. That's what I've done with my hair. Because otherwise I'd be staring at this plant a lot while you're talking about chips. You know? Anyway, so the second part of this question. How often do pros, bracket, and small shops, closing bracket, actually upgrade via modularity versus full modularity?
So I think what the question is how often... Okay, so if you've got a computer without the parts soldered to it so that you can upgrade it, how often do you upgrade it? Is that's how I'm understanding the question. So if I've understood it wrong, I apologise. But if that's... I would say we like the idea of being able to upgrade. And I think storage is one of the areas where pros will upgrade over time. They'll just add more storage to their machine, possibly more memory, simple things like that. But for a major upgrade, I think you might do one midterm. But there are complications with that. So let me give you my own example. So I've got a PC workstation that I use for video editing. I bought it with, I fully loaded it with memory, so I'm not changing that. It's got 128 gigs and I don't need more than that. I won't be changing the CPU. It's a Threadripper Pro. The complications of changing it and the expense, I'm just never doing that. So storage I have played around with and I have upgraded, and the graphics card I've upgraded. So I started out with a single Quadro. I found another one cheap on eBay. So I had a pair of workstation graphics cards and I sold them both and got enough money out of the sale of both of those to get a 4090, which is what's currently in it. But if I wanted to upgrade to the next generation of graphics cards, those now run on PCI Express Generation 5, which my motherboard doesn't support. So I would be running the card slower because things have moved on. Also, there's the power supply. So you've got to think about that as well. It's got a 1,000-watt power supply. It's just enough to do what I'm doing at the moment.
Without getting set on fire.
Yeah. And then the other day, my other son was saying to me about upgrading his gaming PC, which I think we built maybe 5 years ago. Does that sound about right, Ben? About 5 years ago. And it wasn't like, we didn't use the latest generation parts at the time because we were on a budget. And we just looked at the upgrade options for that. And the motherboard is limited to PCI Express Generation 3. So that severely limits your graphics cards unless you want to run them slower. It will take the next generation of CPUs, but the price for buying one of those versus what you actually get doesn't really make it worth it. You probably also have to upgrade the RAM at the same time. And then you look at the power supply and it's 650 watts. So you're like, okay, so actually to do an upgrade, I've got to buy a new graphics card, a new motherboard, a new processor, some new memory and a new power supply. So the only thing that remains really is the case and the storage. You are at that point just buying a new computer.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with upgrades and why I don't get really upset because Apple has soldered components onto the board. I mean, it's a pig if your SSD fails, but I don't keep sensitive data on my computer. I use cloud storage and backup devices for that. So again, that doesn't bother me. I just see the computer unit as a kind of disposable processing unit, if you like.
Yeah.
So there are people who probably upgrade more, but professionals, my experience, and I'm going back over the best part of 30 years, it's not quite that long.
That's older than me.
Yeah. I've been working longer than you've been alive, working in IT, and I'm struggling to remember many upgrades. We would replace computers. You might buy a bit of memory or a bit of storage, or you might get the next graphics card if it would work in your machine. But generally speaking, the pros upgrade, I don't know. Maybe your experience is different, folks. So, share in the comments. But I don't think it's as popular as you might expect, given how much opposition you see in comments to this kind of approach of soldering everything on, which I don't agree with. Fundamentally, it's the wrong thing to do, and it's wasteful and it's bad for the environment and all the rest of it. But at the same time, does it really massively affect me? No. Is that a good answer?
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Okay.
You covered that well. It was very
Okay, moving on.
POV with RC. This is their question. What is the title of the extra music?
I'm assuming you mean the outro music on...
That says extra.
Outro, whatever. Yep. On our standard videos. I looked this up. It is something we found on YouTube Music Library, which is why you'll have heard it before. And it's a track called Trapped, and the artist is, and I will get the pronunciation totally wrong here.
Yeah.
Quincas Moreira.
That was decent. I feel like that was a decent attempt at it.
Quincas Moreira. Yeah. Quincas.
Quincas.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Don't know.
I don't know.
Portuguese, possibly. Sounds Portuguese.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's, I don't know why we use that track, but that's what we use.
That's what you've gone for.
Yeah.
And you've owned it. That was good. Okay. They also asked, Your views on whether Windows or ARM will see continued support into the successive device generations, or will Microsoft let it die on the vine?
Microsoft are kind of known for abandoning things that I like Windows Phone and the Surface Duo. That was an interesting device. And
what was it?
It was a folding phone, but it was hinged. So 2 separate screens rather than a folding screen.
Okay.
Actually, way more versatile than you might think. I did have one, and I meant to review it on the channel, and I never did. I gave it to you, Ben. You still got it. Yeah.
What if you got sand in the hinges?
No, yeah, but it's not like that. You'd have to have a look at it. It's incredibly thin, and just a really cool device. And they axed that as well. But
they abandoned it.
Will they abandon Windows on ARM? I mean, Windows on ARM has been going for a very long time, because you used to have the Windows RT for ARM devices. So there's been a form of Windows for ARM for a long time. I think it will absolutely continue. I don't believe Microsoft will abandon it. They've gone to the trouble of converting the code base for that architecture. And I don't think they'll abandon x86, 64 either. I think that the two things can live together. And I kind of feel like Microsoft are obliged to continue providing that support. Whether they'll support it at a hardware level, with their own Surface devices, that's another question. But they have just released new versions of their Surface devices with the Intel chips in, and they're rather more expensive than the equivalent ones with the Snapdragon ARM chips in, which is sending a message, I feel. So I do think that we'll continue to get support for ARM devices. And of course, you've got Qualcomm are working on the successor to the X Elite chip, which we should see next year. And nVidia have announced that they're working on an ARM chip, which is very exciting. And that should be out this year. So, it's not going anywhere.
That's good. Not going to be abandoned.
I don't think so. No.
That is a win. Another question.
Yeah.
What is the camera gear used for production?
I am a bit of a camera geek, so I do tend to swap it out fairly regularly. But we have consistently been using Panasonic S5 cameras for quite a while. So we have 2 Panasonic S5s. We also have a Panasonic S5 2X.
Catchy name.
Which is the next generation with phase detector autofocus. We don't really use autofocus that often. But when we do need to use it, it's brilliant. And what great cameras. And the great thing about them, Panasonic's log profile is really good to work with if you're into color grading, that kind of thing. And they also support recording onto external monitors in RAW. So, which is why we use the Blackmagic Video Assist monitors, and we're recording in Blackmagic RAW, but we're shooting on Panasonic cameras. And I love them. I think they're brilliant.
They are cool.
No desire to change at all. We do occasionally, for my photography, excuse me, my personal photography, I do have a Panasonic camera, but I also mainly use Fuji for that. Yeah. So occasionally we will shoot stuff on my Fuji, whatever I've got at the time. At the moment, it's an X-T5, which we did use the other day, didn't we, on the gimbal, Ben, for a project? Yeah. So occasionally that'll be there. We're using the Edelkrone equipment.
Little robot.
Yeah,
He's
I did
quite groovy.
A little show of that on the members section. And we have DJI Osmo as well.
Love the little DJI Osmos.
They are just utterly brilliant for making quick content.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
They're so cool.
Quality's not up there with the Panasonic. But,
no.
It's if you just want to quickly make a vid, it's great.
And like on the go stuff as well. Perfect. Yeah. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Anyway, that's what we're using.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Yeah.
This one is from Rob CMDR Savatage. That's a long name.
I suspect it's Rob Commander Savatage.
Oh, I see.
Just
yeah.
Probably.
No, that makes more sense. And he said, "Where is Pete? Loved his brackets jokes."
Yeah.
Where is Pete? What did you do with him?
I don't know. Where has he gone?
We've just lost Pete. He's been behind the plant the whole time.
Pete always used to say that you were the AI, but maybe really it was Pete who was the AI all along.
Yeah.
I don't think this it says much for you and your contribution to the podcast, does it?
Yeah. That means I'm not living up to to Pete's standards. It's not ideal.
Pete's jokes, I've just got to say, they were provided, and I use the term loosely when I say provided, they were provided by your sister.
They were, yeah.
Although to speak to your sister about it, she says he stole them.
Yeah, ghostwriter, basically.
Pete doesn't come up with his own jokes. He
No.
doesn't write his own material, it seems. So, and he's not here to defend himself, which is the best time to pick on him.
Yeah, it's quite good actually, isn't it?
But he will be here later, and because we've got a bunch of work to do. Pete has just been really busy. So Pete, a lot of people might not know this, I don't know, but Pete and I started a digital agency together back in, was it 2011? And so Pete's my business partner. I mean, we've been friends for a long time. And he does most of the new business and meeting customers, bringing in the work. And because we've been picking up a lot of work stateside, he's been spending a lot of time in Canada and North America. And so he's very busy, basically. And that's not to say he's not so busy that he wouldn't do a podcast. I'm sure he will. And I will get Pete in for a podcast.
Yeah, you should.
And, because frankly, I'm sick of the sight of you.
Right, okay.
But maybe when we've got some Apple releases and stuff to talk about, things that Pete can get his teeth into, then I'll ask him about a podcast. And also back in going back a couple of years now, I know Tom did a podcast with me. So Tom is the CEO or managing director of our business, and he did a podcast. So I might invite him.
He's got some good insights.
Yeah, and he does like his Apple goodies.
He does.
So I feel like I guess what I'm saying, Erin, is that
I'm getting out. Yeah,
we should see other people.
Yeah, it's not me, it's you.
That's it.
Yeah, got you. Understandable.
But actually, I'm quite surprised that the podcast has gone as well as it has with you, given the breadth and depth of your technical expertise and prowess.
I think I've got a good depth of some tech stuff.
So perhaps you could just let us know in the comments, folks, whether you feel Erin is doing a good job or not.
Yeah.
Everyone loves you.
Yeah.
They'll always say nice things.
It's for hair.
They always make out like I'm being mean to you.
It's because you are. I literally go home and I cry myself to sleep.
No, you don't.
I
Shut
do.
up.
I'm very...
You go home and plot your next Machiavellian scheme.
I'm
That's
a very
what you
sensitive and delicate and emotional person.
Like I said, Erin, earlier, lots of our friends, people who actually know us, watch this.
Yeah. So they'll just see me blatantly lying.
Look, we're an hour in and we haven't even got to your bit.
Should we quick fire the questions?
I don't know. Go on.
Shall
I'm not very good at quick fire questions. I think I've just given evident demonstration of that. I'll try and do them faster.
Okay, ready? So question 1 from me being your interviewer is, what is one piece of technology you would love to own one day if you could choose one piece of tech?
That's really difficult though.
No, it's not.
Because
Mine would be an Apple fridge. See? Is it really that simple?
I would love I would love to have a proper Mac Pro.
A proper Mac Pro.
Yeah, if Apple were to make again a proper Mac Pro with proper upgrade options, and stuff you could actually buy for it, even though I've just been saying about how we don't really upgrade, but I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
Like some ridiculously expensive Apple Mac Pro that I could never justify spending the money on. I'd love to have that.
That would be your...
I assume that I can have it free.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't specify
whether
I had to pay for it.
No. So yeah, you can just have whatever you want.
So off the top of my head, that's probably the first thing that might spring to mind. Yeah.
I had 2 answers for this.
I might have another one though.
Oh, okay. Let me say my ansers and then we'll hop back to you.
I thought you were interviewing me.
No, but I thought we could have like a little combo. I'd want a GameCube.
Ooh.
Because I loved growing up with the GameCube. And I feel like it would be cool to bring back the GameCube, but maybe with like specs so I can actually play it
a new console,
on like modern stuff. No, I still want the same thing, same controller, same casing, everything. I just want it to be able to plug into like a modern TV without like exploding, basically.
Didn't they make that? Isn't it called the Wii?
Completely different. I love the Wii as well, but
can't
completely
you
different.
plug GameCube controllers into the Wii?
I don't know. Why would I plug a GameCube controller into a Wii?
Well, I'm pretty sure it had plugs for the GameCube controller, didn't it? And didn't it play all GameCube games?
But that's not what I want. I want for GameCube. I loved for GameCube. And the startup screen with the little cube that used to be like...
I think you're just living in the past.
Like, how cool is that? Second thing.
Go on.
I want a new DS.
So like a Switch then?
Not a Switch. I want the DS. The little flip-up DS. That's cool.
Okay.
Those are my two answers. Yeah?
Okay.
Cool things, yeah?
Yeah.
Like it. Anyway, back to your second answer.
I'd like a Hasselblad X2D camera. The 100 megapixel one.
Oh, for
like,
photography?
Yeah, $7,000.
Oh, okay.
And then you have to buy a lens.
Oh.
And they're about $3,000 each.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I won't be buying one of those. But if...
unlimited budget, like for free.
Yeah, if someone's just going to give it to me.
Yeah.
I have higher aspirations, value-wise than you. You just want a DS and a GameCube.
Give me a DS and a GameCube.
Right, okay.
Those are the things I wanted. Second question.
Yeah.
This is a two-parter.
Okay.
Who is your favourite co-worker? And second follow-up question, who is your least favourite co-worker? Maybe you shouldn't answer that, actually, because I feel like I already know your answer.
Okay, I've got a slight problem because both...
You hate everyone equally.
No. I don't. I hate some people more. Both of my sons are co-workers.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you're asking me to choose between my sons.
Yeah, I am.
I can't do that.
Can't you?
No, I love them equally.
Okay, Ben, cover your ears real quick. Ben, on an unrelated subject, just cover your ears. Okay, he's covering, cover your ears. Between me and you, who's your favourite, Tom and Ben?
I don't have a favourite. Honestly.
Okay, Ben, you can unplug. So, he said Tom.
Okay. All right. Let me see then. I'm gonna. My favourite co-worker.
Who do you get excited like when you walk in the office and they're there? Because mine's Greg.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why you'd say that.
I love Greg. I think he's hilarious.
He's awesome.
He's
of
great.
course, this is meaningless to all of our listeners and viewers who don't know Greg.
Yeah.
I'm going to say my favourite co-worker.
Drum roll.
Oh, it's so no, because this is such a mean question. Because everyone's going to feel I'm going to have to say Pete. I'm going to have to say Pete. I mean, he's not, but I'm going to say Pete.
You're going to say Pete. What about Tom?
It's nobody. I don't really have favourites. I love Tom as well. I love everybody. So least favourite is you.
Right. Okay.
I mean, you knew that was coming.
Yeah, I set myself up for that one. To be fair, brilliant. That's a good one. Okay, I'll take it. It was okay.
I do genuinely. Honestly, let me just say this. We've got 35-ish staff.
Yeah.
And I feel so blessed and privileged to work with such a lovely group of people. You start a business. I had no concept it was going to turn into what it did, and I feel really happy when I'm in the office and I see people working and I see them enjoying their job. That gives me a real kick. So I know some people much better than I know others, but I do genuinely enjoy working with everybody.
They are a wonderful group of people.
They are.
They are indeed. Okay, we'll move on to the next question, Meg. She got all like deep and emotional there.
Apologies.
And I can see that you're tearing up a little bit. So.
Tearing up a touch, yeah.
Yeah, for our listeners, Dayv is actually full on sobbing right now.
Yep.
There are tears streaming down his face. Anyway, so the next question is, what is your least favourite job to do? Because you've done like a lot of work over the years, as you were saying earlier. What is like your least favourite like work that you've had to do?
Firing someone.
Oh yeah. Okay, you've gone deep again, Dayv. You've gone deep. But no, that is grim.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
Hate it.
I would not do well. Yeah. I thought you were going to say like
if you just mean sort of genuine general day-to-day stuff, I don't really enjoy my job that much because I used to be a developer and that's quite a creative outlet and exciting and used to do lots of exciting work. But as the company's grown, I've kind of I do managerial stuff and spreadsheets.
Yeah. And
that's pretty difficult to get excited about that, if I'm honest.
That is fair.
I mean, like, don't sob for me or anything.
I won't.
I'm okay. But yeah.
It's okay to not be okay.
I don't enjoy that.
Yeah, that is fair. So follow-up question kind of is if you weren't in the tech industry, what would be your like dream job?
Motorsport.
That's quite cool, actually. On your little motorbike, brum brum.
I'd like to be involved with it. Whether I'd like to be actually racing is another question. But I'd certainly, that is a passion. So maybe motorsport or possibly just, I mean, that's maybe a bit ambitious, but to have my own little garage where I work on projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Doing up
That'd
bikes and cars and things. I'd quite like to do that.
Yeah. I'd want to be an architect.
An architect, did you say?
Architect.
An architect.
I don't actually know how you say it, architect.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
You know, you have to like go to school.
Yeah, that's the thing, because there's a lot of like math stuff.
Yeah, you've got no trigonometry and
complicated. But I'd really like to design like a pretty building. I feel like a lot of architecture is like, in terms of prettiness. Except for when you go to places like Italy.
Yeah.
Every building's really nice, like even like a 7-Eleven or whatever they've got over, like even like a post office, like it's beautiful, like all carved and like I just love it. It's stunning. Whereas like here you've got like brutalism a lot, which isn't.
There are some poor decisions that I think have been made, particularly through the 60s, with regard to architecture in the UK. But
a lot of brown.
I mean, bear in mind that it was a country rebuilding itself after the war.
Yeah, I shouldn't judge.
Other countries haven't been through the same process, but
Yeah. Anyway, that was mine.
Another job I always wanted to do was to be a pilot.
Really?
So I would take that as well. So just going to throw that in there. Airline pilot.
Have you got a fear of heights?
Yes.
Right.
Well, you don't really get scared of heights though in an aeroplane. And fun fact, you can overcome fear of heights.
That is true.
Because I, for a while, was installing aerials on roofs.
That's cool.
Is it roofs or roofs? I think it might be roofs actually. But you have to get over your fear of heights pretty quickly. And I did.
Have to go for it. Yeah.
But it's come back again.
Because you're not up super high anymore.
But when you do it regularly, it's not a problem.
Because when you said pilot, I thought you meant like Top Gun, cool pilot, but you meant like EasyJet pilot. I'm going to be honest. I would like to fly a fighter jet, but I wouldn't want to kill anybody. So that kind of rules that out for me. Yeah, no, that's fair. I just want to go fast in one of the cool little jetty jets. Next question.
Jetty jets. I think that's what they call them in the RAF. And
little jetty jet. It's quite good. Gonna jet off with my little jetty jet. Anyway, what is one piece of advice you would give to anyone starting out in a business?
In a business?
Yeah. Or like what do you call it? Like an entrepreneur.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. One piece of advice. How do you narrow it down to one? It's going to be something really mundane.
That's all right.
You got one piece of advice. Yeah. That is so hard.
Okay, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self starting out in business? How about that? If you could share like one piece of knowledge with them.
I think I don't know, Erin. I'm no good at this, am I?
I come up with like perfect interview questions.
No, they are. It's a really good question, and it's just. I think the challenge that I'm having is there's lots of things that I would say, and it's how do you choose which one of those is the most important? And when you're just sort of being caught on the hoof like this, and I genuinely haven't seen or heard any of these questions, so I then have to come up with the one that doesn't make me sound like a complete moron as well to our esteemed listeners.
Yeah, should be a good piece of advice.
Which is quite challenging, isn't it?
Should I give a piece of advice?
You go on. You do that whilst I continue thinking.
Okay, let me think of like a good. So somebody starting out in business, my advice would be take your time. Don't try to rush into things. Don't like put so much pressure on yourself where you're choosing less quality. You know, like really, really take your time making like the important decisions. Because if you rush it, you'll probably end up regretting it. That's my piece of business advice. But also, I've never started a company, so maybe don't take that advice. Maybe do rush into things.
Well, I don't think it's bad advice. I think there is a requirement in business to take risk. And if you're risk averse, starting your own business ain't for you.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared to take risks and be prepared to face the consequences of those risks.
Yes.
And that can be hard. So here's the thing that I'm going to settle on.
Yeah.
And there are so many different things. And if you would like to hear more of those thoughts, then by all means comment, and we'll maybe include that as a future podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that is something I could do with Pete, because
very techy.
he would
you
probably
guys.
have some thoughts on the business side.
Yeah.
When we started the current business, I decided that I wanted a day off every week.
Yep.
I wanted to work a 4-day week so that I had time for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what you do in life. Most people are very materialistic because that's the way this world teaches us to be. Very materially focused. We measure our success in life by material things and by money.
Mm-hmm.
And none of those things actually bring you happiness. You'll hear people say that a lot, and our natural reaction is, "Oh, it's easy for you to say, but I'd like to try that and find out for myself. Thanks very much. Shut your face, you moron." And but the truth is, okay. I think having a lack of necessity, a lack of financial stuff, it will make you miserable. But having an abundance of it doesn't make you happy. Whereas being able to say, I spent time with my children.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for them when they grew up. That's something that you can be really proud about and happy about. So what I did was I said, I'm not working on one day of the week. And it varied over the years, but I had a specific schedule. At the moment, it's Fridays. Don't work on Fridays.
Yeah.
What I found was I still had to do a full-time week. So I had to work longer days and I had to fit in work in other things. But by keeping that sacrosanct day off, and as the company grew and we took on more people, I had to do less of the additional work.
Yeah.
And I ended up with what I wanted. But because I was very determined with that, I kept that day off. My quality of life was much improved based on previous experiences. Because this isn't the first business that I've run. I had a previous one which I built and sold, and I know what it's like to just work all the time, and it doesn't do you any good. The whole point of doing work is to earn money to live. So you need to do some of the living.
Yeah.
Don't get so caught up in the working that you forget about the living, because life goes by so quick. I mean, it just seems like yesterday that I was, holding Ben in my arms as a newborn. And it wasn't yesterday, was it? It's, knocking on the 17 and a half years ago.
And now look at him, he's got curtain bangs. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? That was a very good answer.
Thank you.
That was a very
because I
insightful
allowed
answer.
myself a bit of time to think about it. But there are other things, other bits of advice that I could give to people starting a business. But yeah, I think that has to be number one.
Yeah.
You've got to get the balance right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's all consuming. And I just want to add something to this, because
Yeah.
there was I'll be careful about what I say, because obviously people know me. But I knew a guy who had all of the material things and did all the work.
Yeah.
He was constantly working. And so he's like, he's got this house here and this house there and this car and this swimming pool and all the rest of it. But he never used any of it because he was always working.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it going,
What's the point?
what's the point of that?
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Why? Yeah.
That was a good answer.
Thanks.
That's very good. I like that. Okay, so next question is, what is the long number on your credit card and the 3 silly little numbers on the back of it?
What I love about this is the confidence that even if you got those numbers, you would actually be able to spend anything.
Yeah.
And that I'm not like maxed to my limit.
That's why I throw it in there, But
Good try.
thank
Erin.
you. Yeah, I just thought I'd give it a go. Okay, so next question is, you've been working in the tech industry for a long old time, fair to say. What has been the best machine that you've worked on, would you say?
The M1 Max.
Is that the one you've got now?
No,
No.
I've just replaced it with this one,
Oh, that one. Okay.
which is the M3 Max. And I did a
Yeah.
video about that. You probably watched it.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, the M1 Max.
M1 Max. Just like overall.
Not well. yeah, because of the overall, is it the absolute best computer I've used? No. I love using my workstation at home. I really enjoy that. It feels special still, even 4 years later.
Yeah.
But the M1 Max was my first real proper dive into Apple Silicon.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for ARM to come to laptops for a long time. I remember doing a video on it about 2 months before Apple announced it, and it came out completely out of the blue. But I did a video about how I mentioned it. Apple is going to do this at some point, and sure enough, they did it. And yeah, that machine, the battery life, the performance. I mean, you got to think about where we were in 2020, whenever that came out. You could not buy a laptop that did what an M1 Max did. Like now, the PCs, they're catching up, and actually some of the chips are outperforming the Apple stuff now. But in some areas. But yeah, as a complete package, it's like that was just
perfect for you.
An amazing leap forward, a genuine leap forward in technology. But there are other machines that have done that. In fact, there's one other machine that's genuinely astonished me like that in my life, and that was when Acorn bought out the Archimedes.
For what?
Yeah, exactly. Before you were born. But it's the whole reason why I ended up with a job in the tech industry and didn't end up being a pilot.
That's interesting.
Acorn's Archimedes.
Thank you, Acorn.
That is worthy of a video all of its own. An utterly astonishing computer for the time.
Interesting. Mine was that big old computer I had when I first started, and I called it Margaret.
You had a Mac Pro 5.1, didn't you?
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I love that.
The old cheese grater.
Yeah, I really, really liked her. She was very cool.
I think it's still upstairs.
She's great. She was a cool machine.
I think we got like 3 of them queued up there.
Oh my days.
They're just sat there doing nothing.
I literally loved it. It was so cool. It was very cool. But then I also really love this laptop with the touch bar. I've already gone on about the touch bar in another video, so I won't reiterate.
Yeah.
But very cool. And also the Mac Studio that I work on. Super speedy. Very nice.
M1 Max.
Big fan of it.
Yeah.
Big fan of it. Right.
Good question.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So this is my final question, and we kind of tapped into it a little bit earlier. But what is one piece of tech you wish could have like a cool back?
Could have a cool
back, like like maybe cool back isn't the right
word.
word.
Sorry,
like
cool as in CALL.
Yeah.
Amiga.
What is that? What is that?
Well, the Commodore Amiga was a computer. Again, I'm going back to before you were born. It was just a great computer, and again, I got a soft spot for it. But both Commodore and Acorn were mismanaged as companies. They made some bad choices, and they ended up in financial trouble. And in Commodore's case, they sold off their Amiga business. So the Amiga was like a home computer for gaming. I mean, it was astonishing what it did. You'd still enjoy playing on one today. It's that good.
That's cool.
And yeah, they were just incredible computers. And it got sold off. It ended up with a German company called Escom, and they started making them and overstretched themselves, and it just ended up disappearing. And then you had Acorn, again, mismanaged, ran out of money, but they had this amazing chip design, ARM, which they siphoned off into a separate company. Incidentally, fun fact, Apple were equal shareholders with Acorn. They provided the money. And I think Olivetti might have been involved as well. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, so they formed ARM, and obviously that is still going. So the technology that came out of Acorn, we're using it now.
That's cool.
In the ARM chip. But their operating system, RISC OS, and their computers, they were great. So you got these two genuine contenders that have fallen by the wayside, and we're now left with basically you have a Mac or a PC.
Yeah.
But if history had been slightly different, maybe we could have had a Mac or a PC or an Amiga or an Acorn.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
So more choice for the consumer would mean more competition, would mean we'd have better products. And this sort of move that we see generally in the world today, where large corporations are just taking ownership of everything, will end up with just a few companies owning everything. And that's going to be really bad for consumers.
That is going to be really bad.
So, yeah, if I could call back some tech, I would. That's what I'd have.
That's a good answer.
Thanks.
Mine was a Mega Drive, you know.
The Sega.
Sega.
Now,
Yep.
they didn't call it the Mega Drive in America, did they?
Did we not?
I don't think so. Is it the Genesis? Yeah.
Oh, the Genesis.
So we're talking about a Sega Genesis.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Well, yeah, because my uncle had one of those and we used to play it when we went over, and it was only Sonic or this really like bad Aladdin game released by Disney on the Mega Drive. It was like the best thing ever, but that was quite fun. So I'd probably, or another answer. Did you remember the PSP?
Yes.
I think that. I feel like they released it at the wrong time, but I thought that was really cool when it came out.
With the little UMD.
With the weird
drive.
little white discs. And it had like a little...
It was an actual disc, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were like really, really cool.
They were.
Yeah.
I bought one of those when they were first released. I was in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I bought one in a shop there. And and then we played it on the bus going back to Buffalo.
Yeah. I feel
I
like
don't
it
know
was
why,
like...
but that's how I remember it. You know, it's
Yeah.
tied up with that trip. But yeah, what an amazing...
It was really cool. I feel like it was way before its time though.
And the Vita that came later, I had one of those, and there was a particular game, and I can't even remember what the game was now. Do you possibly remember, Ben? The paper something, Tearaway.
Tearaway.
Such a good game.
Was
and
it?
the Vita had this like touch sensitive back panel and other controls. And
That's
this
cool.
particular game just used them all. It was just really immersive and really great. And the Vita failed massively, and I just don't understand why. It was a good console. But this happens, doesn't it? This
Yeah.
happens. It was a good console. I mean, I think the Wii U was a good console, but that didn't do very well either.
I don't think I ever had a Wii U. I remember I love the Wii. Wii was like my go-to.
But you know, the Wii was basically a GameCube, just
It wasn't.
in a new
It was-
device.
no,
It was the
completely
same,
different.
Yeah, but it was
No.
the same internals.
No.
That's
No.
Nintendo cheating.
Completely different.
You know, there's a Switch 2 coming out.
Yeah, I know, but it looks the exact same as the other one. It's just got a better screen or something.
A bit
In it.
bigger, isn't it?
Doesn't really
It's
interest
not
me.
really exactly the same.
No. I got the Steam Deck, and all my days do I love that thing.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I spend too much time on it. Like, I love it.
I found my Steam Dock the other day.
Your what?
Steam Dock for docking your deck and plugging it into a telly.
Oh, that's cool.
So do you want that?
Yeah.
I'll
if
bring
you
it in
don't
for
want
you.
it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very cool. But yeah, I love that thing. I really like it.
Yeah, they're amazing. I don't have one anymore.
Yeah, where'd it go?
It's a mystery. If they made another one, I would probably be up for buying one again. I just wasn't using it that much. That's the problem. I don't have enough time for all of these things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the only gaming thing that I have, which is why I think I love it.
I feel like you've got a bit of a passion for gaming, and maybe we ought to do a gaming podcast
Yeah, thinking about
episode.
it. I feel like I have a lot of nostalgia with like gaming devices, which is quite cool. Although I never actually used to game because I've got two older sisters. So I was always
Used
made
to
to sit
watch.
there and just watch. Like even with Zelda games now, when I play them, I'm like, should probably just be sat back watching someone else play this really. Doesn't feel quite right.
That's really kind of your sisters.
My mum and dad used to come in and be like, you have to give Erin a go. And then it would be like 2 minutes of me walking into a wall. And then, yeah, Shannon would immediately take over again, which is understandable. But good childhood memories all round, I'll say.
Excellent.
Love it.
I feel like, this is probably one of our longer podcasts at
Yeah.
1 hour and 25 minutes.
And at least 12 minutes of that was about hair.
I do wonder whether we're giving quality and value. But anyway, I'm still going to nonetheless make a little plug for our members.
Oh, yeah.
So we have switched on the YouTube membership thing, and I'm trying to double down on this and do more content for members. So at the moment I'm doing at least a monthly vlog, but we'll probably pick up a little bit more. There might be some Erin outtake content on there as well, and I might have
Fantastic.
uploaded the video where I dunked you in the River Wye as well,
See, here's the thing. I'm not a member, so I can't even see the videos that you're posting on there.
which is just ideal. I think ideal. So maybe we could put up Erin singing as well.
Yeah. To be fair, that was quite good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to get a copyright strike on the channel, but
Because it was really accurate singing, is what you're saying.
No, I think we could include you singing. I just don't think we could include the bit where you played the original track and then sang over it. But who knows?
Just put a YouTube audio library over the actual music, but still have me singing over the top of it.
We might be all right if we don't mind you, on the member section, we don't switch on monetization. So you shouldn't get any adverts in members' videos. The other benefit of being a member is that typically when I release a video, I'll upload it and make it available for members first. So you get early dibs on that. We will be doing more member-specific stuff over time, as I said. And also it's just really that warm, fuzzy feeling that you're supporting some creators like us. And where it's really helpful for us is I'm trying to run the channel without taking sponsorship deals. And I open my email every day to a barrage of people wanting to send me stuff to review or to sponsor the channel or all of the rest of it. But there's always a catch. They always want something back. And I have taken stuff to do reviews on the channel, mainly if I think it's something that might interest the viewers, and I don't always get that right, or if it's something that I'm interested in. But I haven't done many actual sponsorships.
No.
Done a couple, but not many. And I don't know about you, Erin, but if you're watching YouTube, I just cannot abide those sponsorship. Can't even say the word. Sponsor segments.
Oh yeah. I skip past them. It's really
And
bad,
so do I. And so do I. Yeah, I don't need to hear another YouTuber tell me that my mental health will be better if I go to BetterHelp.
It's always VPN though.
It's
always NordVPN.
And I've got nothing against NordVPN.
No.
I'm sure it's a brilliant VPN, but I'm just tired of hearing about it. And Squarespace.
Yeah. Or Honey.
Oh.
Flipping Honey. Did you hear about the big old scam with that? Nasty.
Scuzz
Yeah,
buckets.
nasties. Yeah. And I had it downloaded on my browser. So.
Did you?
Well, I had it briefly because I didn't really think twice about
that's something
it.
that would genuinely hurt a creator like us, because we actually make probably half as much in Amazon revenue as we make on YouTube revenue. So it's really important. And if we sell enough on Amazon, they give us bonuses as well.
Yeah.
So Amazon actually makes a huge difference to us. So when you use our Amazon links, which costs you nothing, by the way, even if you're just buying some washing up liquid or whatever it is, if you use our link, Amazon will pay us a bit of commission. And I know the American audience is very switched on to doing that.
Yeah.
And very grateful, because it's actually something that kept the channel going when, because YouTube, it doesn't do its creators any favors. Let's just put it at that. It makes it very difficult, whereas Amazon has kept us going. And so if you can support the channel like that, that's great. But supporting through memberships is another just sort of really great way of looking after us and helps us to then not sell out.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to do it. I'd rather buy something myself. I almost agreed to one, and going back about 6 months, right?
Yeah.
And it was for a company that makes stand-up desks.
Oh.
And I wanted one, and I've got one. It's just over to my right here in the studio. And so I'm like, well, I want a desk, so I might as well do a review of one and get it given to me.
Yeah.
Except then they started, so you go a bit further down the road, then they send over the contract.
Yeah.
And you look at what they're asking for, and it's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah.
Because there is a huge difference between someone sending you some promotional consideration, as in a sample product for you to review. And I always offer to return sample products, by the way, always. And a huge difference between that and getting a video that you own the rights to.
Yes.
That you've said, I want this featured and that featured. Those are two completely different things. And if you want your own video made, then you need to pay someone the time to make it. And let's be honest, a stand-up desk at £300 or whatever
Does
it was
not cover the video.
doesn't even cover the preparation time, frankly, to making the video. I mean, it's an insult is what it is. And I just looked through this. It's like, I could just buy a desk myself and review the one I buy if I want to review a desk. And then I thought to myself, I don't want to review a desk. I don't have any interest in that.
No, it's not. No.
But I have shown the desk in a few different videos, and it came from a company called Desktronic, and we're about to order some more from them.
It's a really cool desk.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So Desktronic, good shout out to you, but I get nothing from that, and I'm not sponsored by them. So that means that you guys can trust the advice that I'm giving you. When I say, this is a great thing and I'm not receiving any money, well, that I like that.
Yeah.
It's credibility.
I like
I
that as
feel
well.
like I've been stood on a soapbox there for a bit.
Yeah, you were really preaching. Really,
I'm sorry about that. At least,
no, it's good.
look on the bright side, folks. At least I wasn't beatboxing.
Boots and cats, boots and cats.
I feel like
Cats, boots and cats.
I feel like it is time to end the podcast.
That was my
Erin.
outro. But you didn't say the outro bit. Oh, wait, can I do the outro bit?
Please.
Thank you for watching the podcast. Thank you for joining in what is this? The Constant Geekery podcast.
Brilliant.
Thanks
That's
for
amazing.
watching. Thanks for watching the Constant Geekery podcast with me, your host, Erin, and my other person who just kind of sits there and talks about some stuff, Dayv. Thank you, Dayv. Join in again if we post another one. Subscribe, like the video. And now I'm going to be doing an outro. Ready, Dave? So you say goodbye, everyone, after I've done the beatbox. Okay, ready? Boots and cats and boots and cats.
Help.
Boots and cats and boots and cats. I feel like that was a good outro. That was good.
Mm.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. My life has been enriched today, Erin.
Anytime.
Yeah. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day, what I pay you for, to
Yeah.
do the podcast.
You're so very welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm here for.
Okay. Oh, my life. Enjoy editing this, Ben.